If you haven't seen part 2 of this one-part series, you might want to do that first, because we're just going to pick up where we left off. But the overriding question our Christian friend is trying to answer is, why didn't God just start everyone off in heaven?
All right, so the third reason is that heaven has a lot of great goods, but so does a world with suffering. And since God wasn't forced to choose one over the other, he created a world that has both.
We have just entered the world of unbearable stupid. If Cameron really thinks God made a good choice creating a world with great goods and a delicious side order of horrific suffering, I simply don't know what to say. But this is the kind of stupid, lazy-ass bullshit the religious will come up with when defending their God. And we haven't even hit rock bottom. Wait for it.
What types of goods could come out of a world with suffering? One that I like to think about a lot is called what I'll call character development. Put simply, suffering aids in building our character.
There is no amount of character building in the universe that could warrant a Holocaust. Cameron has obviously led an incredibly sheltered life. Pick up a book, dude. Cameron, there were children who had their eyes injected with adrenaline by the Nazis to see if they could change their eye color. Some of them were just killed after that. Yeah, you know, she's dead now, but I'll tell you, I have never seen a kid with more character in my life. We really did a great good for that little one, didn't we? Cameron kind of sounds like the guy who would let his kid touch the hot stove rather than teaching his kid not to touch it. 'Cause that'll build you some character.
When someone hurts us or causes us to suffer, for example, we're given the opportunity to forgive them.
Not always. Not the person who's murdered in their sleep. Not the person killed by a drunk driver. All kinds of horrific things happen to us, causing us great suffering with no one even to pin it on, let alone giving us the opportunity to learn forgiveness. And it's not like everyone gets the same opportunities in that regard either. No one's killed my daughter, raped my wife. Is learning forgiveness really a good trade-off? Come on. An all-powerful God who can't figure out how to afford us the opportunity to learn forgiveness without creating a world filled with genocide, rape, and murder is the functional equivalent of an evil God.
And so the way that we respond to suffering in this life really does form our character in really significant ways.
And the way God responds to our suffering, creating it and allowing us to be tormented by it, really does inform us as to his character in really significant ways, especially when you consider that God is all-powerful and never had to do it this way. If God wanted us to build or have good character, he could have made us having that good character. Or surely there's a way he could have created us where we build character without suffering. How about that? We all know people who are absolutely wonderful, amazing people with phenomenal character who have suffered almost nothing. Your God is all-powerful, Cam. Should I call him Cam? I shouldn't call him Cam, huh?
So the Bible confirms that suffering builds character. But now some other questions arise, like what happens to children in childbirth? Right? They don't have the opportunity to build their characters. Well, it's true that children that die young aren't really given the opportunity to build their character on earth. There's no real good reason to think that character building suddenly stops in heaven.
So if character building doesn't stop in heaven and heaven is free of suffering, then clearly suffering is not necessary for building character. Does he not read this stuff before he starts shooting?
And it's also important to note that the character development that goes on in heaven is different than the type of character development that goes on earth.
I am always absolutely amazed that people can talk about things of which they have absolutely no knowledge without one jot of doubt. There's not even a qualifier like I'd imagine, or I would think. How the hell does Cameron know about character development in heaven, a place for which there is absolutely no evidence? Does the Bible mention how character development is different in heaven versus earth? Because I don't remember those verses.
But that doesn't mean that God shouldn't have created earth.
Of course it does. There's nothing God wanted to achieve that God couldn't have achieved without creating evil and suffering. You've said as much yourself, you just don't know it because your mind is so focused on defending this idiot who supposedly created evil and suffering that you've gone stupid. You can't see the evil God forest for the apologetic trees.
So when you draw this question out, like as far as it can go, It doesn't actually lead to the conclusion that God should have created everyone in heaven. Like, that doesn't follow at all.
Again, I think Cameron is a smart, decent guy, but when you're trapped by dogma into defending the indefensible, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that defense will be anything but the kind of stupid, thoughtless nonsense you've seen here. I don't mind telling you this, Cameron, but nonsense defended is still nonsense. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching. God, I need a shower. That was so gross.